The aged grandfather clock, a silent sentinel of time, chimed noon within the cluttered haven of yesterday's treasures, a thrift store steeped in forgotten memories. Dust motes danced in the sunbeams filtering through the window, illuminating Oliver, a 12-year-old boy with a constellation of freckles and a mop of sun-kissed curls. He fidgeted, clutching a gleaming watch, an anachronism amidst the store's weathered relics. The air hung thick with the scent of aged paper and unspoken stories. Suddenly, the delicate peace shattered. The door burst inward, a chaotic symphony of hurried footsteps and frantic voices flooding the small space. Journalists swarmed in, their faces alight with a feverish intensity, microphones thrust forward like weapons. Where is he? Where is the boy who returned Keanu Reeves's watch? The question hung in the air, silencing the clock's rhythmic tick and freezing the store's inhabitants in a tableau of bewildered suspense. Margaret, the thrift store's proprietor, a woman weathered by time but with eyes that held a spark of fierce compassion, stepped forward, her presence a bulwark against the invading chaos. Her gaze settled on Oliver, a silent question passing between them. Derek, Oliver's ever-present shadow and aspiring filmmaker, instinctively raised his camera, capturing the unfolding drama through his lens. The world tilted on its axis for Oliver, the quiet rhythm of his life about to be irrevocably disrupted. This seemingly simple act of returning a lost item, an act born of pure innocence, had unknowingly unleashed a chain of events that would thrust Oliver, his community, and even a humble celebrity, into a maelstrom of media attention, testing the very fabric of their values and revealing the unexpected power of compassion in a world obsessed with fleeting fame. The watch, a seemingly insignificant object, held the key to unlocking a story far grander than anyone could have imagined, a story about time, connection, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. The story unfolds primarily within the unassuming embrace of Meadow Creek, a suburban enclave clinging to the edge of bustling Metro City. Here, manicured lawns meet picket fences, and the aroma of freshly baked cookies wafts from open windows. It's a place where neighbors still gather for potlucks and where front porch conversations linger late into the evening. This idyllic setting contrasts sharply with the distant glitter of Metro City, a constant reminder of the fame and fortune that exists just beyond their tranquil world. The emotional heartbeat of Meadow Creek resides in its unwavering sense of community, a haven where compassion and solidarity are not just words, but a way of life. At the heart of this narrative is Oliver, a whirlwind of youthful energy and insatiable curiosity. Orphaned at a young age, he finds solace and purpose in tinkering with discarded watches, imbuing them with new life and discovering hidden histories within their intricate mechanisms. He dreams of becoming a master horologist, preserving the legacy of time itself. His innocence is a shield against the world's harsh realities, yet his inherent kindness possesses a transformative power. Margaret, the stoic yet tender proprietor of yesterday's treasures, is a pillar of the community. Widowed years ago, she pours her heart into the thrift store, transforming it into a sanctuary for forgotten objects and lost souls. Her sharp wit masks a deep well of empathy, and she possesses an uncanny ability to see the potential in everyone, especially Oliver. She carries the weight of untold stories within her, each one etched into the lines on her face. Derek, Oliver's best friend, is an aspiring filmmaker armed with a trusty camera and an unwavering belief in the power of storytelling. He views the world through a cinematic lens, documenting the everyday dramas of Meadow Creek with a keen eye for detail. He sees Oliver's story as his big break, a chance to showcase the extraordinary in the ordinary. And then there's Grace, a seasoned journalist caught between her ambition and her conscience. Assigned to cover Oliver's story, She initially sees it as a fluff piece, a fleeting moment of heartwarming news in a cynical world. But as she delves deeper, she begins to question her own motivations and is drawn to the genuine compassion that surrounds Oliver. Her journey becomes a struggle to reconcile her professional obligations with her growing sense of empathy. As the media frenzy intensifies, cracks begin to appear in Meadow Creek's idyllic facade. Oliver struggles under the weight of newfound attention, his passion for watches overshadowed by flashing cameras and relentless questions. Grace uncovers a hidden clause in Oliver's adoption papers, threatening his future security and exposing a vulnerability he's carefully concealed. Margaret reveals that the watch holds a deeper connection to Keanu's past, a secret promise made long ago that could shatter his carefully cultivated image. Derek's documentary, initially intended as a celebration of compassion, takes a darker turn as he captures the escalating pressures tearing the community apart, forcing him to confront the ethical implications of his art. The watch, once a symbol of hope, now becomes a ticking time bomb, threatening to unravel everything they hold dear. Oliver's immediate goal is simple: to escape the suffocating media attention and return to the quiet sanctuary of his workshop, where he can lose himself in the rhythmic ticking of gears and springs. However, the relentless reporters and the growing legal complications surrounding his adoption make this increasingly difficult. He feels trapped, his innocent act of kindness twisted into a spectacle. Grace, driven by a desire to redeem herself after a career of sensationalism, sets out to uncover the truth behind Oliver's adoption and the watch's mysterious past. Her initial obstacle is Margaret, who fiercely protects Oliver and harbors deep distrust of the media. Grace must earn Margaret's trust, navigating the older woman's guarded demeanor and proving her genuine intentions. Meanwhile, Derek sees Oliver's story as his opportunity to make a meaningful film, one that captures the essence of human connection and the power of compassion. But he struggles with the ethical dilemma of exploiting Oliver's vulnerability for artistic gain. He begins to question whether his desire for success is blinding him to the emotional toll the documentary is taking on his friend. A subplot emerges concerning a local real estate developer who sees the media attention surrounding Meadow Creek as an opportunity to gentrify the neighborhood, threatening the community's close-knit fabric and Margaret's beloved thrift store. The community must band together to fight against this external threat, further testing their solidarity and forcing them to confront the changing landscape of their world. The arrival of the legal notice shatters Oliver's already fragile world. A distant relative, driven by avarice and fueled by the media circus, challenges his adoption, arguing Oliver's sudden fame equates to untapped financial potential. This legal assault doesn't just threaten his home, it threatens to rip him from Margaret, his sole anchor, plunging him into a vortex of dread and instability. Margaret, fiercely protective, is compelled to confront a past she's painstakingly kept buried. The legal challenge forces a confession, a revelation about Oliver's biological parents and the complex, heartbreaking circumstances surrounding his adoption. She understands she must fight with every fiber of her being, even if it means unveiling deeply personal wounds and risking her own well-being. Grace, the journalist wrestling with her conscience, seizes this injustice as a chance for atonement. She vows to use her influence to champion Oliver, exposing the predatory nature lurking beneath the veneer of celebrity culture. Her investigation into the relative reveals a disturbing pattern, a trail of dubious lawsuits and a transparent hunger for wealth. Derek, abandoning his artistic aspirations for now, redirects his filmmaking talents. He decides to chronicle Oliver's legal fight, aiming to ignite public sympathy and bolster support. He recognizes the stakes, his friend's future hangs precariously, and his skills offer a potent weapon. Meadow Creek's tranquility is irrevocably disrupted, replaced by a nerve-wracking legal battle that pushes its residents to face their deepest anxieties and defend their most cherished values. The community will have to stand strong and not let Oliver fall. The strength of the characters' bonds will be put to the test. The legal challenge triggers a cascade of consequences. Oliver, increasingly withdrawn, loses interest in his beloved watches, the ticking mechanisms now a constant reminder of the relentless passage of time and the uncertainty of his future. He begins to question his worth, internalizing the relatives' avaricious claims. Margaret, haunted by her past, becomes consumed by a fierce determination to protect Oliver, neglecting her own well-being and straining her already limited resources. The community rallies around her, organizing fundraisers and offering legal support, but the financial burden weighs heavily. Grace's investigation uncovers a web of deceit surrounding Oliver's biological parents, revealing a connection to a powerful corporation with a vested interest in suppressing the truth. She faces increasing pressure from her editors to drop the story, fearing the potential legal repercussions. Derek's documentary gains traction online, attracting both fervent support and vicious criticism. He is accused of exploiting Oliver's trauma for personal gain, forcing him to confront his own motivations and question the ethics of his art. A new character enters the scene, Ms. Eleanor Vance, a sharp-witted and compassionate pro bono lawyer who offers to represent Oliver. She becomes a beacon of hope, providing legal expertise and emotional support, but she also carries her own hidden burdens, having experienced a similar injustice in her own past. The corporation will not let Eleanor win easily, for it will make new threats. The courtroom becomes a battleground as the avaricious relative unveils falsified documents, viciously attacking Margaret's character and deepening Oliver's emotional wounds. Ms. Vance faces an overwhelming challenge, struggling against the relative's vast resources and unscrupulous methods, and her own self-doubts start creeping in. The toll on everyone is high. A cryptic message leads Grace to evidence of the corporation's illicit dumping practices, a secret that Oliver's biological parents were about to expose before their tragic end. Torn between her duty and her fear, she must choose, publish, risking everything, or bury the truth to protect Oliver and herself. The stress is making her decisions more difficult than ever. Online, Derek watches in horror as the documentary's comment sections explode with hate. Ruthless trolls are defaming Oliver and Margaret, flooding the internet with lies and inciting violence. Racked with guilt, he questions whether telling their story was a mistake and if he really considered the impact. From afar, Keanu Reeves, observing Oliver's suffering, makes a bold choice to use his celebrity to shine a light on the injustice and provide financial aid. But this decision backfires when the corporation, threatened by his interference, sets its sights on silencing him. The tranquil facade of Meadow Creek is beginning to crumble. The once quiet neighbors will have to decide whether they still want to be involved. Everyone will have to choose. In a moment of raw vulnerability, Margaret makes the courageous decision to expose everything she knows about Oliver's biological family, presenting undeniable evidence that links the corporation to their tragic fate. This act, while deeply exposing her past, ignites the community's resolve and dramatically sways public sentiment in Oliver's direction. She knows she has to do it, because if she doesn't, she knows this might haunt her for the rest of her life. At the same time, Grace, fully aware of the risks, publishes her explosive exposé on the corporation's environmental wrongdoings, triggering a massive public uproar. The government launches an immediate investigation. Inspired by Grace's selflessness, Derek makes the bold move of releasing his documentary. It names and shames those involved in the insidious online attacks. Seeing the lengths to which his friends are willing to go, and witnessing the unwavering support of his community, Oliver rediscovers the fighter within and vows to actively fight for his future. He starts believing again. Ms. Vance now knows they have a real chance of winning because their time to start believing has come. The tension inside the courtroom is palpable as the final arguments loom. Ms. Vance, with steely determination, meticulously dismantles the relatives' web of deceit, leaving their credibility in tatters. Oliver, drawing strength from the overwhelming support, delivers a heartfelt testimony, eloquently expressing his deep affection for Margaret and sharing his aspirations for a brighter future. His words resonate deeply with the jury and the viewing public, but the verdict remains uncertain. Will justice prevail? Grace finds her professional life hanging by a thread as the ruthless corporation unleashes its full force, attempting to discredit her reputation and bury her explosive story. But her courage has ignited a fire in others. Journalists from around the globe rally to her defense, promising to keep the truth alive, no matter the cost. The fight for truth is just getting started. After a period of agonizing introspection, Derek rediscovers his passion for filmmaking, realizing he can channel his talents to fight for other children facing similar battles. He sets out to document their stories, giving them a voice and raising awareness about the injustices they face. The seed has been planted to change the world. In a gesture of profound solidarity, Keanu Reeves unexpectedly arrives in Meadow Creek, standing shoulder to shoulder with Oliver and Margaret. The town is in awe and hope is renewed. His presence speaks volumes, reinforcing that compassion will always win in the face of adversity. It is a moment Meadow Creek will cherish forever and will certainly never be forgotten. The jury deliberations begin, plunging Meadow Creek into agonizing suspense. The relative, desperate to salvage their reputation, makes a final, underhanded attempt to bribe a juror, putting Ms. Vance to her ultimate test. Will she be able to expose the corruption before it's too late? Time is of the essence. As Grace awaits the fallout from her exposé, she receives a threatening message, warning her to remain silent or face dire consequences. The corporation's reach is far and has no limitations. She must decide whether to cower in fear or continue fighting for the truth, even if it means risking her life. Derek faces a crisis of conscience as he is offered a lucrative deal to sell his documentary to a major studio, but only if he agrees to remove certain controversial scenes that are critical of the corporation. The money could change his life, but it would betray the very heart of his film. During an electrifying courtroom finale, Ms. Vance unveils undeniable proof of the attempted bribery, resulting in the immediate arrest of the scheming relative and the utter failure of their manipulative legal strategy. The jury proclaims its long-awaited decision: Oliver will remain under Margaret's loving care, his rightful guardian. A collective sigh of relief sweeps through Meadow Creek. Choosing to prioritize truth over her own well-being, Grace fearlessly publishes a second, even more damning exposé, revealing the corporation's clandestine efforts to silence her and detailing their extensive pattern of illegal and unethical behavior. The public's reaction is overwhelming, triggering a massive government inquiry and causing the corporation to come tumbling down. Justice is definitively served, with all that wanted to see evil burn. Staying true to his artistic integrity, Derek bravely turns down the tempting offer, choosing instead to release his documentary independently. His work sparks a nationwide dialogue on the destructive nature of corporate greed, as well as the need for the community to come together and never let people in need suffer from such attacks. In the aftermath of the tumultuous events, Oliver and Keanu Reeves develop a deep and enduring friendship. Oliver begins an apprenticeship with a renowned horologist, taking the first step towards his lifelong dream of becoming a master watchmaker and finding a love that will last forever. Consider the small watch as a symbol of hope. The story concludes with a powerful call to action. Remember that compassion and solidarity will win. Time marches on, but Meadow Creek stands as a testament to the strength of community. The harrowing events have indelibly shaped its people. Oliver, having mastered the art of horology, approaches each timepiece with reverence, understanding that within their intricate workings lie profound stories of resilience and hope. He cherishes his enduring friendship with Keanu, always remembering the transformative impact he had on his life. His talents and skills are devoted to assisting others, always reminding everyone that hope is a powerful source of inspiration. Grace has become a beacon of journalistic integrity, fearlessly advocating for those who have no voice and championing truth above all else. Derek's iconic documentary continues to resonate, inspiring countless individuals to actively engage in their own communities and strive to make the world a better place. Yesterday's Treasures, still managed by Margaret, has become a reminder that help is around the corner. The small watch, which started it all, sits proudly on Margaret's counter, positioned beside the old grandfather clock, acting as a constant reminder of what happens when compassion and solidarity take over. Let this be the start of a new journey. Remember, even the smallest act of kindness has the power to transform our reality and create a world where we all thrive.